kind of small, you know. Well, welcome one and all to our opening night of The Man Who Came to Dinner. We're so excited to share this production with you. We think that you are going to be completely entertained with murder mystery, lots of humor, and dancing penguins. So sit back, enjoy, relax. One thing we'd like to remind you of is we are also being taped tonight. So we would really, really appreciate if the sound level on your parts is down. So please turn off your phones and beepers and make sure that if there's any kinds of noise that needs to be made, that it's made out in the, it's not the narthex, but you know where it is, so. I call it the narthex. Anyway, have a good time.
Sorry about that. Okay, one of the things that we'd like to explain to you that we're doing a little different this year because of how our set is set up is when the students take their final curtain call, they're going to back up and the curtain is going to close, and then the curtain's going to stay closed, and they're going to go right around to the front, and they will meet their friends and family out in the meeting area.
The narthex.
All right. Okay, how about if we have a word of prayer and we'll get going here. Father in heaven, we thank you so much for this night. We thank you for the accumulation of a lot of work and a lot of practice on the part of our students, and you know that we are so proud of them and that we are so excited for them to show what they've accomplished. We pray, Lord, that you'll be with each one of them, that you'll give them good recall of their lines, that you will give them just a real calmness. We know a few of them are feeling a little under the weather. We pray that you'll just give them an extra dose of strength. We thank you, Father, for the gifts that you've given them, and we thank you that now they can show these gifts to the people here. And in your Son's name we pray. Amen. Enjoy the show.
Is there anything I can do, Miss Breen?
No, thank you.
Don't call yourself a doctor in my presence.
4 more cablegrams and more packages? Dad is going crazy upstairs with that bell ringing all the time.
Oh, dear. June, will you go? I'm sorry, what was that, Richard?
One from New York and one from San Francisco.
There was one from Alaska early this morning.
Doesn't that bird brain of yours ever function?
Really?
Yes, that's right.
Who is it?
I'll get them right away. He wants some Players Club cigarettes.
Players Club?
They have them down at Kitchener's. I'll run and get them.
Hello? Yes, I'm waiting.
Tell me, Miss Preen, are they bringing him out soon?
They're getting him out of bed now. He'll be out very soon.
Oh, I'm so very happy. He must be very happy.
Trapped like a rat in this infested cage.
2 o'clock? Yes, I think he could talk then. All right. Well, who do you think that was? Mr. H.G. Wells from London.
H.G. Wells on our telephone?
I'll go. This certainly is a busy house.
I got his orange juice.
Oh, that's fine, Sarah. Is it fresh?
Yes, ma'am.
You move like a 3-legged horse.
His voice sounds just like it does on the radio. Good morning.
Good morning, girls. What do you think? Mr. Whiteside is getting up and coming out this morning.
You don't mean it.
Can we stay and see him? Why, I think that would be lovely. Girls, do you know what just happened?
I'll be upstairs, Mother, if you want me.
Oh, that's fine, June. Tell your father he better come down. Mr. Whiteside is coming out.
Yes, Mother.
Is he really coming out this morning? I brought him a plant. Do you think it'd be okay if I give it to him?
Why, that would be lovely.
And some calf's foot jelly?
Why, how nice. Girls, do you know who was on the phone just now? H.G. Wells from London. He's had phone calls from all over this country and Europe. Felix Frankfurter, Dr. Defoe, the Mount Wilson Observatory. I can't tell you what's been going on. I am simply exhausted.
There's a big piece about it in this week's Time. Did you see it?
No, really?
Your name's in it too, Daisy. Listen. Portly Sheridan Whiteside, critic, lecturer, wit, radio orator, intimate friend of the great and near great, last week found a celebrated wit, no weapon with which to combat an injured hip. The Falstaffian Mr. Whiteside, trekking across the country on one of his annual lecture tours, met his Waterloo in the shape of a small piece of ice on the doorstep of Mr. and Mrs. Ernest W. Stanley of Massalia, Ohio. Result, canceled lectures in disappointment to thousands of adoring clubwomen in Omaha, Denver, and Points West. Further result, the idol of the airwaves rests until further notice in the home of the surprised Mr. and Mrs. Stanley. Possibility, Christmas may be postponed this year. What's that mean?
A small piece of ice on the doorstep of Mr. and Mrs. Stanley. Just think of it.
Of course, if it were my house, Daisy, I'd have a bronze plate put on the step, right where he fell.
Oh, well, of course. But I felt terrible about it. Mr. Whiteside doesn't go to dinners anywhere anymore. And then this had to happen? Poor Mr. Whiteside. But it will be nice, having him here with us, even if it is just for a little while. We'll sit around at night and talk about plays and lectures. He'll speak in that wonderful way of his. He may even read Goodbye, Mr. Chips to us.
Daisy, I can't wait any longer. If Mr. Whiteside... Oh, good morning, ladies.
Ernest. Good morning. Mr. Whiteside is coming out this morning. And H.G. Wells telephoned from London. And we're in Time magazine.
I don't know if I like this kind of publicity at all, Daisy. When do you suppose he's gonna leave?
Well, he's only getting up this morning, Ernest. He's been in bed for a full 2 weeks. He'll need some time to recover, Ernest.
I suppose it is a great honor, his being in here and all, but it is a little upsetting. Phone ringing all the time, bells going off, messenger boys running in and out.
Pardon me, Mrs. Stanley. Have the cigarettes come yet?
Oh, my son went for them.
Thank you.
This is Miss Maggie Cutler, Mr. Whiteside's secretary.
How do you do? May I move this chair?
Oh, yes. Do you mean he's coming out now?
He is indeed.
He's coming out.
I can hardly wait. Oh, June, Mr. Whiteside is coming out.
Sarah, Mr. Whiteside is coming out.
I am so excited I don't know what to do. Me too. I know that I'll just simply...
No, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Bradley.
Well, here we are, merry and bright. Bring out our little patient, Miss Green.
Oh. Oh.
I may vomit.
Good morning, Mr. Whiteside. I am Mrs. Ernest Stanley, remember? And my husband, Mr. Stanley.
How do you do, Mr. Whiteside? I hope you're better.
Thank you. I'm suing you for $150,000.
How's that? What?
I said I'm suing you for $150,000.
You mean, Mr. Whiteside, because you fell on our doorstep?
Samuel J. Leibowitz will explain it to you in court. Who are those two harpies standing there like the kiss of death?
Oh, dear. My plans. Joanna, clean this up.
Mr. Whiteside, I brought a jar of calf's foot jelly for you.
Made from your own foot, I have no doubt. And now, Mrs. Stanley, I have a few small matters to take up with you. Since this coroner druggist at my elbow tells me that I will be confined to this moldy mortuary for at least another 10 days, due entirely to your stupidity and negligence, I shall have to carry on my activities as best I can. I shall require exclusive use of this room, as well as that drafty sewer in which you call the library. I want no one to come in or out while I am in this room.
Oh, what do you mean, sir?
We have to use the stairs to get to our rooms.
Isn't there a back entrance?
Why, yes.
Then use that. I shall also require a room for my secretary, Miss Cutler. Let me see. I have a great many incoming and outgoing calls, so please do not use the telephone. I sleep until noon and require it quiet throughout the house until that hour. There will be 5 for lunch today. Where is the cook?
Mr. Whiteside, if I may interrupt for a moment.
You may not, sir. Will you take your clammy hand off my chair? You have the touch of a slimy cobra. And now, will you all leave quietly, or must I ask my secretary to pass among you with a baseball bat?
Well, goodbye, Daisy. We'll call you. Oh, we mustn't use the phone. Well, we'll see you. Goodbye.
Now look here, Mr. Whiteside.
There is nothing to discuss, sir. Considering the damage I have suffered at your hand, I'm asking very little. Good day.
I'll call you from the office later, Daisy.
Not on this phone, please. Here's the menu for lunch.
I've already ordered lunch.
It will be sent up to you on a tray. I will be using the dining room for my guests. Where are those cigarettes?
My son went for them. Sarah, here's the menu for lunch. I'll be having mine upstairs on a tray.
Young lady, I cannot stand indecision. Will you either go up those stairs or come down them?
Oh, good morning, Mr. Whiteside. Here are the cigarettes. I'm sorry I was so long. I had to go to 3 different stores.
You were gone long enough to have a baby. Is there a man in this world who suffers, as I do, from the gross inadequacies of the human race? Where are you going? Go in and read the life of Florence Nightingale and learn how unfitted you are for your chosen profession.
Well, I think I can safely leave you in Miss Cutler's capable hands. Shall I check in again this afternoon?
If you do, I shall spit right in your eye.
What a sense of humor you writers have. By the way, it really isn't worth mentioning, but I've been doing a little writing myself about my medical experiences.
Am I to be spared nothing?
Would it be too much to ask you to glance over it while you're here?
Trapped.
Well, I just happen to have a copy with me. The story of a humble practitioner, or 40 years in Ohio doctor.
I shall drop everything.
No, thank you, and I hope you like it. Well, keep that hip quiet and don't forget those little pills. Goodbye.
Oh. Maggie, will you take 40 years in Ohio Butcher, or whatever it's called?
Well, I must say, you certainly have behaved with all of your custom grace and charm.
Look here, Toots. I am in no mood to discuss my behavior, good or bad. I had no desire to cross this cheerless threshold. I was hounded and badgered into it. And now I find myself, after 2 weeks of racking pain, being accused of behaving without charm. What would you have me do? Kiss them?
Very well, Sherry. After 10 years, I should have known better than to try and do anything about your behavior. But when I finally give up this job, I may write a book about it all. Through the years with Prince Charming.
Listen, Repulsive. You are tied to me with an umbilical cord made of piano wire. And now, if we may dismiss the subject of my charm, for which, incidentally, I receive $1,500 per appearance, we can get back to work. Oh, no, we can't. Yes.
My name is Harriet Stanley. I know you are Sheridan Whiteside. I saw this holly framed against the pine trees, and I remembered what you had written about Tess and Jude the Obscure. It was the nicest present I could bring you.
What was that?
That was Harriet Stanley, Mr. Stanley's sister. I've talked to her a few times. She's quite strange.
Strange. She's straight out of the Hound of the Baskervilles. You know, I think I've seen that face before somewhere.
Nonsense, you couldn't have.
Oh, well, let's get back to work. Here, press this in the doctor's book. I see no reason why I should endorse maiden-form brassieres.
Here are some telegrams.
What date is this?
December 10th.
Send a wire to Columbia Broadcasting. You can schedule my Christmas Eve broadcast from the New York studio, as I shall return east instead of proceeding to Hollywood. Stop. For special New Year's Eve broadcast, we'll have as my guest Joshua Heifetz, Catherine Cornell, Schiaparelli, The Luntz, Dr. Alexis Carroll, with Haile Selassie on shortwave from England. Whiteside.
Are you sure you'll be all right by Christmas, Sherry?
Of course I will. Send a cable to Mahatma Gandhi, Bombay, India. Dear Boo Boo, schedule changed. Can you meet me Calcutta, July 12th, dinner 8:30, Whiteside. Send a wire to editor of the Atlantic Monthly. Do not worry, Stinky. Copy will arrive. Whiteside. Arturo Toscanini. Where is he?
I'll find him.
Counting on you, January 4th, Metropolitan Opera House, my annual benefit, Home for Paroled Convicts. As you know, this is a very worthy cause and close to my heart. Tibbet, Rethberg, Martinelli, and Flagstad have promised me personally to appear. Will you have a quiet supper with me and Ethel Barrymore afterwards? Whiteside. If it's for Mrs. Stanley, tell them she's too drunk to talk.
Hello? What? Hollywood?
If it's Goldwyn, hang up.
Oh, hello, Banjo.
Banjo, give me the phone.
Banjo, you old so-and-so, how are you?
Come on, give me that.
Shut up, Sherry. Banjo, darling, I miss you. Are you coming east? Oh, no, he'll be all right.
Stop dribbling and give me the phone.
At me now. Here he is.
How are you, you fawn's behind, and what are you giving me for Christmas? Oh, what news, Banjo, my boy? How's the picture coming? How are Wacko and Sloppo? No, I'm all right. Yes, I'm in very good hands. I've got the best horse doctor in town. How about you? Having any fun? Playing any cribbage? What? Oh, well, don't take all his money. Leave a little bit for me. Your what? Having your portrait painted by whom? Milt Gross? Not really. No, I go back to New York from here. I'll be there for 12 days, and then I go to Dartmouth for the drama festival. You wouldn't understand. Well, I can't waste my time talking to Hollywood riffraff. Kiss Luella Parsons for me. Goodbye. He took $1,400 from Sam Goldwyn at cribbage last night, and Sam said, Banjo, I will never play garbage with you again.
What's all this about having his portrait painted?
Salvador Dali. That's all that face of his needs. A surrealist to paint it. What do you want now, Miss Bedpan?
It's your pills. One every 45 minutes.
Now, where were we?
Here's a telegram from that dear friend of yours, Lorraine Sheldon.
Oh, let me see that.
Sherry, my poor sweet lamb, have been in Scotland on a shooting party with Lord and Lady Cunard, and only just heard of your poor sweet hip. Am down here in Surrey with Lord Bottomley, sailing Wednesday on the Normandy, and cannot wait to see my poor sweet Sherry. Your blossom girl, Lorraine. In the words of the master, I may vomit.
Don't be bitter, Toots, just because Lorraine is more beautiful than you are.
Lorraine Sheldon is a very fair example of that small but vicious circle you move in.
Pure jealousy if I ever saw it. Hand me the rest of those, will you?
Lorraine Sheldon, Lord Bottomley, my Aunt Fanny.
Ah, this one's from Destiny's Tot.
Oh, England's little rover boy.
Dear Baby's Breath, what is this I hear about a hip fractured in some brawl? Does this mean our Hollywood Christmas party is off? Finished the new play in Pago Pago, and it's superb. Myself and a ukulele leave Honolulu tomorrow in that order. By the way, the Sultan of Zanzibar wants to meet Ginger Rogers. Let's face it, Carlton.
He does travel, doesn't he? You know, it would be nice if the world went around Beverly Carlton for a change.
Hollywood next week. Well, why couldn't he stop over on his way to New York? Send him a cable. Beverly Carlton, Royal Hawaiian Hotel, Honolulu. If these people intend having their friends use the front door,
What would you have them do? Use a rope ladder?
I will not have a lot of mildew pus bags rushing in and out of...
Mr. Jefferson.
Good morning, Joanna. There's nobody home! The Stanleys have been arrested for white slavery. Go away!
Good morning, Mr. Whiteside. I'm Jefferson of the Massalia Journal.
Get rid of him.
I'm sorry, Mr. Whiteside is seeing no one.
Really?
Yes. So will you please excuse us? Good day.
But Mr. Whiteside seems to be sitting up and taking notice.
I'm afraid he's not taking notice of the Massalia Journal.
You know, if I'm going to be insulted, I would rather have it be by Mr. Whiteside himself. I never did like carbon copies.
Touche if I ever heard one. And in Massalia too, Maggie dear.
Will you please leave?
Mr. Whiteside, how about an interview?
I never give them. Go away.
Come on, Mr. Whiteside. If I don't get this interview, I'll lose my job.
That would be quite all right with me.
You don't mean that, Mr. Whiteside. You were a newspaper man yourself. You know what the editors are like. Mine's the toughest one that ever lived.
You won't get around me that way. If you don't like him, get off the paper.
But I happen to think it's a good paper. William Allen White could have gotten out of Emporia, but he didn't.
You have the effrontery in my presence to compare yourself to William Allen White?
Only in the sense that White stayed in Emporia, and I want to stay here and say what I want to say.
Such as what?
Well, I can't really put it into words, Mr. Whiteside. It would sound like an awful lot of hooey. But you see, the paper was my father's. It's kind of a sentimental point to me. The paper. And I would like to continue on where he left off.
Aha. So you own the paper, huh?
That's right.
So this terrifying editor, this dread journalistic apocalypse is you, yourself?
In a word, yes.
I see.
In the future, Sherry, let me know when you don't want to talk to people. I'll usher them right in.
Young man, come over here. So I suppose you've written that novel.
No, I've written that play.
Well, I don't want to read it. Ah, do these old eyes see a box of goodies over there? Hand them to me, will you?
The trouble is, Mr. Whiteside, your being in this town comes under the heading of news. Practically the greatest news since the Depression. So I just got to get a story.
Pecan, butternut
Oh,
sparge.
oh, Mr. Whiteside! You mustn't eat candy. It's very bad for you.
My great Aunt Jennifer ate a whole box of candy every day of her life. She lived to be 102, and when she had been dead 3 days, she looked better than you do now. What were you saying, old fellow? You were about to say...
Well, I can at least report to my readers that chivalry is not yet dead.
We won't discuss it. Well, now that you have won me with your pretty ways, what would you like to know?
Well, how about a talk on famous murders? You're an authority on murder as a fine art.
My dear boy, when I talk about murder, I get paid for it. I've made more money out of the Snyder Gray case than the lawyers did, so don't expect to get it for nothing.
Well, then, what do you think of Massalia? How long are you going to be here, and where are you going? Things like that.
Very well. A, Massalia is a town of irresistible charm. B, I cannot wait to get out of it. And C, I will be going from here to Crockfield for my semi-annual visit to the Crockfield Home for Paroled Convicts, for which I have raised over $500,000 in the past 5 years. From there, I will be going to New York. Have you ever been to Crockfield, Jefferson?
No, I haven't. I've always meant to.
Well, as a newspaper man, you ought to go, instead of wasting your time with me. It's only about 75 miles from here. Did you ever hear how Crockfield started?
No, I didn't.
Sit down, Jefferson. Make yourself comfortable. It is one of the most endearing and touching stories of our generation. One misty St. Valentine's Eve, the year was 1901, a little old lady who had given her name to an era, Victoria, lay dying in Windsor Castle. Maud Adams had not yet caused every young heart to swell as she tripped across the stage as Peter Pan. Irving Berlin had not yet written the first note of a ragtime rigadoon that was to set the nation's feet a-tapping, and Elias P. Crockfield was just emerging from the state penitentiary. Destitute, embittered, cruel of heart, he wandered on that St. Valentine's Eve into a little church. But there was no godliness in his heart that night, no prayer upon his lips. In the faltering twilight, Elias P. Crockfield made his way toward the poor box. With callous fingers, he ripped open a poignant testimony of a simple people's faith. Greedily, he clutched at the few pitiful coins within, and then a child's wavering treble broke the twilight stillness. "Please, Mr. Man," said the little girl's voice, "won't you be my Valentine?" Elias P. Crockfield turned, and there before him stood a bewitching little creature of 5, her yellow curls cascading over her shoulders like a golden Niagara, and in her outstretched hand, a humble Valentine. In that one crystal moment, a door in the heart of Elias P. Crockfield opened, and in his mind was born an idea. 25 years later, 3,000 ruddy-cheeked convicts were gamboling on the broad lawns of the Crockfield home, frolicking in the cool depths of its swimming pools, broadcasting its own symphony orchestra from their own radio station. Elias P. Crockfield has long since gone to his maker, but the little girl of the golden curls, now grown to lovely womanhood, is known as the Angel of Crockfield, for she is the wife of the warden. And in the main hall, between a Rembrandt and an El Greco, there hangs, in a simple little frame, that humble Valentine.
And in the men's washroom, every Christmas Eve, the ghost of Elias P. Crockfield appears in one of the booths. Will you sign this, please?
This aging debutante, Jefferson, I retain in my employ, simply because she is the sole support of her two-headed brother.
I understand. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Whiteside. You've been very kind. By the way, I'm a cribbage player if you need one while you're here.
Fine. How much can you afford to lose?
Well, I usually win.
We won't discuss it. Come back at 8:30 and we'll play three-handed with Elsie Dinsmore.
Sherry!
Metz! Metz, you incredible beetle hound, what are you doing here?
I will explain, Sherry, but first, I must kiss my little Maggie.
Metz, darling, what a wonderful surprise.
The enchanted Metz. Jefferson, you are standing in the presence of Professor Adolph Metz, the world's finest authority on insect life.
How do you do?
How do you do? Well, Sherry,
Metz, stop looking at me adoringly and tell me why you're here.
you are sick, so I come to cheer you.
He lived for 2 years in a cave with nothing but plant lice. He rates 3 pages in the Encyclopedia Britannica. Don't you, my little hookworm?
Please, Sherry, you embarrass me. Look, I brought you a present to while away the hours. I said to my students, boys and girls, I want to make a present for my sick friend, Sheridan Whiteside. Do you know what we did? We made for you a community of Paraplanta americana, commonly known as the American cockroach. Behold, Sherry, Roach City. Inside here are 10,000 cockroaches.
10,000? Sarah, wait till you hear this!
And if all goes well, Sherry, in 1 week, it'll be 50,000.
If all goes well, what can go wrong? They're in there, aren't they?
Quiet, please.
It's fascinating, Sherry. You can watch them as they live out their entire lives. Here's the maternity hospital. They do everything human beings do.
What?
Please, Maggie, these are my cockroaches.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Metz.
With these earphones, Sherry, you can listen to their mating calls. There are microphones deep inside. Listen.
How long has this been going on?
Aha! Paraplanta americana! There are cockroaches in this house!
I beg your pardon. Mr. Whiteside, I don't know who this man is, but I will not stand
Then
here.
go
and
upstairs. These are probably my luncheon guests. Metz, you're staying the day, of course.
Certainly.
Jefferson, stay for lunch.
Glad to.
Maggie, tell them there'll be 2 more. Come right in, Baker. Good morning, gentlemen. Jefferson, here are the fruits of that humble Valentine. These men, now serving the final months of their prison terms, have chosen to enter the ivy-covered walls of Crockfield. They have come here today to learn from me a little of its tradition. Gentlemen, I envy your great adventure. You're Michelson, aren't you? Butcher shot murders?
Yes, sir.
Thought I recognized you. The one on the end, Jefferson? It's Henderson, the hatchet fiend. Always chop them up in a salad bowl, remember?
Oh, yes.
Lunch is ready, Mr. Whiteside.
Good. Let's go right in, gentlemen.
Can I help you?
Oh, thank you. We will be having chicken livers tetrazzini with cherries jubilee for dessert. I hope every little tummy is aflutter with gastric juices. Close the doors, Joanna. I don't want anyone crying on their betters.
Cockroaches, convicts, murderers in my house? Oh, what if the ladies find out?
I was dreaming of Lillian Russell, and I awake to find you.
Medicine, Mr. Whiteside.
What time is it?
About 6:30.
Where is Miss Cutler?
She went out
Out?
with Mr. Jefferson. All right if I turn the lights up, Mr. Whiteside.
Yes, go right ahead, Joanna.
And Sarah has something for you. Made it special.
She has? Where is she? My souffle queen!
Here I am, Mr. Whiteside.
She walks in beauty like the night, and in those deft hands there is the art of Michelangelo. Let me taste the new goody. Poetry! Sheer poetry.
I put a touch of almond in the dough. Do you like it?
Ambrosia.
And I got your terrapin Mary length for dinner.
Sarah, I have known but 3 great cooks in my time. The Khedive of Egypt is one, my great Aunt Jennifer another, and the third, Sarah, is you.
Oh, Mr. Whiteside.
Tell me, how would you like to come to New York and work for me? You and Joanna.
Oh, Mr. Whiteside. Sarah! It kind of takes my breath away. It would be wonderful, Mr. Whiteside. But what would we tell Mr. and Mrs. Stanley?
Just goodbye.
Oh, but they'd be awfully mad, wouldn't they? They've been very kind to us.
Well, if they're ever in New York, we can have them for dinner, if I'm not in town. Now run along and think this over. And remember, this is our little secret. And Sarah, be sure to put plenty of sherry in that terrapin. Miss Preen! Miss Preen!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What have you got in there anyway? A sailor?
I was just washing my hands.
What time did Miss Cutler go out?
A couple hours ago.
Mr. Jefferson called for her?
Yes, sir.
All right, all right. Go back to your Navy.
Dear Mr. Whiteside, may I show you a few mementos of the past? I somehow feel you would love them as I do.
Why, certainly, Miss Stanley. Miss Stanley, have we met before somewhere?
Oh, no. I would have remembered. It would have been one of my cherished memories, like these. Look, here I am with my first sweetheart under our lovely beechwood trees. I was 8, and he was 10. I have never forgotten him. What happy times we had. What?
Did I tell you I'm going to?
There's someone coming. I'll come back.
No, Ernest.
Mr. Whiteside, I want to talk to you. I don't care whether you're busy or not. I have stood all that I am going to stand.
Indeed.
This is the last straw. I have just received a bill from the telephone company for $784. Oklahoma City, Calcutta, Hollywood, Australia, Rome, New York, New York, New York, New York. Now I realize, Mr. Whiteside, you are a distinguished man of letters.
Well, yes, of course. We both do.
Please. But in the past week, we have not been able to call our souls our own. We have not had a meal in the dining room once, and I have to tiptoe out of my house in the morning.
Now, Ernest.
Oh, I come home to find convicts sitting at my dinner table, butcher shop murderers, and there's a man putting cockroaches in my kitchen.
They just escaped, Ernest.
That's not the point. I walk into my bathroom this morning and bump into 22 Chinese students you invited here. I tell you I won't stand for it, no matter who you are.
Have you quite finished?
No, I have not. I go down into the cellar this morning and trip over that octopus that William Beebe sent to you. I tell you I won't stand for it. Mr. Whiteside, I want you to leave this house as soon as you can and go to a hotel. Stop pawing me, Daisy. That is all I've got to say, Mr. Whiteside.
And quite enough, I should think. May I remind you again, Mr. Stanley, that I am not a willing guest in this house. I am informed by my doctor that I must remain quiet for another 10 days, at which point I will get out of here so quickly the wind will knock you over. I hope. If, however, you insist on me leaving before that time, thereby causing me to suffer a relapse, I shall sue you for every additional day I am held inactive, which I assure you will amount to a tidy sum.
This is outrageous. Outrageous!
As for the details of your petty complaints, those 22 Chinese students came straight from the White House, where I assure you they used the bathroom too.
Mr. Whiteside, my husband didn't mean to.
Yes, I did. I meant every word of it.
There is only one point in which I see where you make some slight justice. I do not expect you to pay for my telephone calls, and I will see to it that restitution is made. Can you provide me with the exact amount?
I certainly can, and I certainly will.
Good. I shall instruct my lawyers to deduct it from the $150,000 that I am suing you for.
No, Ernest.
And I'll thank you not to trip over that octopus, which once belonged to Chauncey Depew.
Oh, Ernest, remember he's a guest in our house.
Give me the Visalia Journal, please. Hello, Journal. Is Mr. Bert Jefferson there? When do you expect him? No message. Come here, you two. Come on. I'm not going to bite you. Now look here. I am by nature a gracious and charming person. If I veer at it, it is on the side of kindness and amiability. I've been observing you two for the past week, and it seems that you two are very likable young people. I know at first I was very unpleasant to you. For that I am sorry, and I wish that in the future you will not treat me like something out of Edgar Allan Poe. How do you like my new tie?
Thank you, Mr. Whiteside. That makes things much pleasanter. And I think the tie is very pretty.
Well, now that we're on speaking terms, Mr. Whiteside, I don't mind saying I've been admiring all your ties.
Do you like this one?
I certainly do.
Well, then it's yours.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Really, this curious legend that I am a difficult person is pure fabrication. Ice skating, huh? Ah, me. I used to cut figure eights myself, arm in arm with Betsy Ross, waving the American flag behind us.
It was wonderful on the ice today, Mr. Whiteside. Miss Cutler and Mr. Jefferson were there.
Maggie, ice skating?
Yes, and she's good, too. Why, I got a marvelous picture of her.
Were they still there when you left?
I think so.
Yes, they were.
Mr. Whiteside, mind if I got a picture of you? I'd love to have one.
Very well. Do you want my profile?
I'm afraid you're done for, Mr. Whiteside. My brother is a camera fiend.
Thank you, Mr. Whiteside. I got a great one. Hello, Miss Cutler.
Hello.
Good evening, Sherry.
Really, Sherry, you've got this room looking like an old parrot cage. Did you nap while I was out? What's the matter? Cat, run away with your tongue.
Don't look at me with those great cow eyes, you irresponsible flirt. Where were you all afternoon? Alley-catting around with Bert Jefferson?
Bert read his play to me this afternoon. Sherry, it's superb. It isn't just that play written by a newspaper man. It really is superb. I want you to read it tonight. It just cries out for Cornell. Will you send it to her? And will you read it tonight?
No, I will not read it tonight or any other time. And while we are on the subject of Mr. Jefferson, you might ask him whether he'd like to pay your salary, since he takes up all your time.
Oh, come now, Sherry, it isn't as bad as that.
I have not been able to reach you, not knowing what haylofts you frequent.
Oh, stop behaving like a spoiled child, Sherry.
Don't take that patronizing tone with me, you flea-bitten Cleopatra. I am sick and tired of you running out like some lovesick high school girl every time my back is turned.
Well, Sherry, I'm afraid you've hit the nail on the head.
Stop acting like Zazu Pitts and explain yourself.
Well, Sherry, I'll make it quick. I'm in love.
Nonsense. This is merely delayed puberty.
No, Sherry, I'm afraid it isn't. You're going to lose a very excellent secretary.
You are out of your mind.
Yes, I am, a little. But I'm a girl who's waited a long time for this to happen, Sherry, and now it has. Mr. Jefferson doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to try my darndest to marry him.
Is that all?
Yes. Except that, well, I guess this is what might be called my resignation. That is, until you've got someone else.
Listen to me, Maggie. We have been together for a long time. You are indispensable to me. But I think I am unselfish enough not to let that stand in the way where your happiness is concerned. Because whether you know it or not, I have a deep affection for you.
I know that, Sherry.
That being the case, I will not stand by and allow you to make a fool of yourself.
I'm not, Sherry.
You are, my dear. You're acting like a Booth Tarkington heroine. It's incredible. I cannot believe that a girl who for the past 10 years has had the great of the world served on a platter before her. I cannot believe that this is not some sort of temporary insanity where you are swept off your feet in 7 days by a second-rate, small-town newspaper man.
I can't explain what's happened, Sherry. I can only tell you that it's so. It's hard for me to believe, too. Here I am, a hard-bitten old cynic, behaving like True Story magazine and liking it. Discovering the moon and ice skating. I keep laughing to myself all the time, Sherry, but there it is. What can I do? I'm in love.
We're leaving tomorrow. Hip or no hip, we are leaving here tomorrow. I don't care if I fracture the other one. Get a train schedule and start packing. I'll get you out of this Miss Stardust. I'll get the ants out of those moonlit pants.
It's no good, Sherry. It's no good. I'd be back on the next Streamline train.
It's completely unbelievable. Can you see yourself, the wife of the editor of the Massalia Journal, having a night at home with Mr. and Mrs. Stanley, Mr. and Mrs. Poopface, and the members of the Book of the Month Club?
Sherry, I've had 10 years of the great figures of our time, and don't think I'm not grateful to you for it. They've been wonderful years, Sherry, happy and stimulating. Well, I don't think anyone has ever had the fun we've had. But a girl can't laugh all the time, Sherry. There comes a time when a girl wants, well, Bert Jefferson. You don't know Bert, Sherry. He's gentle and unassuming and, well, I love him. That's all.
I see. Well, I remain completely unconvinced. You are drugging yourself into this Joan Crawford fantasy, and before you become completely anesthetized, I shall do everything in my power to bring you back to your senses.
Listen here, Whiteside, lay off. I know what a devil you can be. I've seen you do it to other people, but don't you dare do it to me. Don't drug yourself into the idea that all you're thinking of is my happiness. You're thinking of yourself a little bit too in all those weeks of breaking in somebody new. I've seen you in a passion before, when your life has been disrupted and you couldn't dine in Calcutta on July 12th with Boo Boo. Well, that's too bad, but there it is. I'm going to marry Bert if he'll have me, and don't you dare try any of your tricks. I'm on to every one of them, so lay off. That's my message to you, Big Lord Fauntleroy.
Long distance, please. I want to put in a transatlantic call. Hello, transatlantic operator. This is Massalia 142. I would like to speak with Miss Lorraine Sheldon. S-H-E-L-D-O-N. She's on the Normandy. It sailed from Southampton day before yesterday. Will it take long? All right, my name is Whiteside. Thank you.
Good evening, Joanna.
Good evening, Doctor.
Well, well, good evening, Mr. Whiteside.
No, come back tomorrow. I'm busy.
Now, what would be the best news that I could possibly bring you?
You have hydrophobia.
No. Mr. Whiteside, well, you are a well man. You could get up and walk now. Why, you could leave here tomorrow.
What do you mean?
Well, sir, I looked at those x-rays again this afternoon, and do you know what? I had been looking at the wrong x-rays. I was looking at old Mrs. Moffett's x-rays. Why? You're perfectly, absolutely well.
Lower your voice, will you?
What's the matter? Aren't you pleased?
Delighted. Naturally. This is a very unexpected bit of news, however. It comes at a very curious moment. Dr. Bradley, I have some good news for you, too. I have been reading your book, 40 Years... What is it called?
An Ohio Doctor, yes.
Yes, I consider it being very close to one of the greatest literary contributions of our time.
Mr. Whiteside.
So strongly do I feel about it that I have a proposition to make you. Just here and there, the book is a little uneven, a little rough. But what I want to do is to stay here in Massilia and work on it with you.
Mr. Whiteside, I would be so terribly honored.
Yes, but there is just one difficulty. You see, if my lecture bureau and radio sponsors were to learn that I am well, they would insist on me fulfilling my contracts. Thereby, I would be forced to leave Massilia. Therefore, we must not tell anyone, not anyone at all, that I am well.
I see.
Not even Miss Cutler, do you understand?
No, I won't. Not a soul. Not even my wife.
That's fine.
Mr. Whiteside, when do we start work? Tonight? I've just got one patient that's dying, but then I'll be perfectly free.
Tomorrow morning. Oh, this is a private call. Would you forgive me? Hello? Yes, I'm on. Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning it is. Good night. Oh, you've made me very proud. I'll be so proud to work with you, Mr. Whiteside.
Yes, I know. Very proud. Hello? Yes, this is Whiteside on the phone. Put her through. Is this my Blossom girl? How are you, my lovely? Yes, I'm all right. Yes, still out here. Lorraine, dear, when do you land in New York? Tuesday? That's fine. Now listen closely, my pet. I've great news for you. I've discovered a wonderful new play with an enchanting part in it for you. Cornell would give her eye teeth to play it, but I think I can get it for you. Now wait, let me tell you. The author is a young newspaperman here in town. Of course he wants Cornell, but if you jump on a train and get right out here, I think you could swing it if you play your cards right. No, he's young and very attractive, and just your dish, my dear. It just takes little doing, but you're the girl that can do it. Isn't that exciting, my pet? Yes, that's right. And look, don't send me any messages. Just jump on a train and arrive. No, it's perfectly all right, darling. No need to thank me. Have a safe trip and hurry out here. Goodbye, my Blossom. Miss Preen, you're looking radiant this evening.
Sherry, I'm sorry for what I said earlier. I'm afraid I was a little unjust.
That's all right, Maggie. We all lose our tempers now and then.
I promised to have dinner with Bert and then go see a movie, but we'll come back here and play cribbage with you instead.
That's fine.
See you soon, Sherry dear.
Goodbye. Eyes dis a little wabbit in the sunshine. Eyes dis a little wabbit in the rain. I nibble on my lettuce leaf all morning.
you, Joanna.
Oh my, would you look? I have never seen anyone get so many presents. I can't wait to see what's in them.
When will Mr. Whiteside open them, Miss Cutler?
Well, Joanna, you see, Mr. Whiteside thinks Christmas is his. He thinks he invented it and that it belongs to him. First thing tomorrow morning, we'll open each and every one of those presents, and there will be the biggest fuss you ever saw.
Oh my, would you just look who he's got presents from? Shirley Temple, William Lyon Phelps, Billy Rose, Ethel Waters, Somerset Maugham. I can't wait for tomorrow. Oh, it is wonderful, isn't it? Mr. Whiteside's tree is so beautiful. Mr. and Mrs. Stanley had to put theirs in their bedroom, you know. They can't undress at night.
Good evening, Joanna.
Good evening, Mr. Jefferson. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Hello, Maggie.
Hello, Bert.
Merry Christmas, Sarah.
Well, Merry Christmas, Mr. Jefferson.
Say, business is good, isn't it? My, what a little quiet blackmail in the weekly radio hour can get you. What did the sponsors give them?
They gave him a full year's supply of their product, cream of mush.
Well, I'm sure he'll give it right back to him over the air.
Wait till you hear tonight's broadcast, old fellow. It's so sticky, I haven't been able to get it off my fingers since I copied it.
Yeah, I'll bet. Look, I'll come clean. Under the influence of who knows what, I have just bought you a Christmas present.
Why, Mr. Jefferson, sir?
Only I would like you to see it before I throw away my hard-earned money. Can you run downtown with me and take a look at it?
Why, Bert, I'm touched. What is it? I can't wait.
It's a 2-year subscription to Pick, Click, Look, and Listen. Say, do you think I'm going to tell you? Just come down and see.
All right. Sherry, I'm going out for a few minutes with Horace Greeley. I won't be long.
Noel, Noel, Mr. W. How about some cribbage after your broadcast tonight?
No, I will not play cribbage with you, Klondike Harry. Where are you off to now, Madam Butterfly?
I'm being given a Christmas present. Anything you want done downtown?
Yes, bring baby a lollipop. What are you giving me for Christmas, Jefferson? I have enriched your feeble life beyond your capacity to repay me.
Well, yes, that's what I figured, so I'm not giving you anything.
I see. Well, I was going to give you my old trust, but now I shan't. Maggie, what time are those radio men coming?
6:30. I'll be here. You've got to cut, Sherry. You're 4 minutes over. There's a wire here from Beverly Carlton. Here. He says he can't. He doesn't know what train he'll get from Chicago, but he'll be here sometime this evening.
Good. Is he staying the night?
No. He has to get right out again. He will be sailing Friday on the Queen Mary.
You think I could peek in the window and get a look at him? Beverly Carlton used to be my hero.
Used to be, you ink-stained hack. Beverly Carlton is the greatest single talent in English theater today. Get this illiterate numbskull out of my sight, Maggie, and don't bring him back.
Yes, Mr. Whiteside, sir. I won't come back until Beverly Carlton gets here.
Bert, I want to know what you bought me. I'm like a 10-year-old kid.
You know, you look like a 10-year-old kid right now, Maggie, at that.
Hello? Would you give me the Mansion House, please? No, I don't know the number. Hello, Mansion House? Has a Miss Lorraine Sheldon arrived yet? Yes, that's right, Miss Lorraine Sheldon from New York. She hasn't, huh? What do you want coming in here like that? Don't you knock before coming into a room?
But
Preen, you are obviously in this room. That is correct, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Therefore, you came in. Hereafter, please knock.
Sir. There's some expressmen here at the crate, Mr. Whiteside. I told them to come around the front. The crate is rather large. I'm afraid it may not fit through the front door.
Thank you, Joanna. A big present, huh? Well, just have the expressman open it outside, then. Don't just stand there, Miss Preen. You look like frozen custard. Go away!
Why, it's some kind of animal. Bring them right in.
Yep, penguins. Here, penguins.
Oh my, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4?
Come on, penguins. Look what Uncle Josh has for you.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Good, penguins. Keep coming. Keep coming. Good, penguins.
9, 10, 11, 12. 12? Wait till Sarah hears about this.
There are 12 of them. I fed each one of them this morning.
Who are they from, Joanna?
The top of the crate says Admiral Richard E. Byrd. Say!
Of course. Hello, my pretties. My, what magnificent creatures you all are. Wonder if they're housebroken. I hope not. Well, my darlings, what do you do for fun? Entrancing companions, Joanna. I want them put in the library with me.
Yes, sir. Here, penguins.
$200 lobster. I don't suppose there's any whale blubber in this town.
Good evening.
Oh, yes, there is. I'm sorry you came in, Doctor. I have to do my yogi exercises.
But Mr. Whiteside, it's been a week now. My book, you know. When are we going to start working my book? Well, I was hoping that today, maybe. Well, that is if you're not too busy. Good evening, Miss Breen.
Good evening, Doctor. Doctor! Perhaps I'm not well, but when I looked in there, I thought I saw a penguin with a thermometer in its mouth.
What's this? Have the penguins gotten out of the bathroom?
Penguins? Did you say penguins?
Yes. Doctor, will you go in and capture them, please? There are 12 of them.
Capture the penguins? Okay.
Yes. And Miss Preen, will you entertain them until I come in?
Entertain penguins? Yes, sir. The Christmas tree in the bedroom just fell, Mr. Stanley. He's got a big bump on his forehead.
Why, isn't that too bad? Go ahead, Doctor. Go on, Miss Preen. Hello, Mr. Whiteside. Hello, Richie, my boy.
Well, Mr. Whiteside, will you have some time later?
I don't know. I'm busy now.
Well, suppose I wait a little while. I'll wait a little while.
Dr. Bradley is the greatest living argument for mercy killings. Well, Richie, my boy, would you like a candid camera shot of my left nostril this evening?
I'm all stocked up on those. But do you have a moment to look at some new ones I've taken?
I certainly have. Why, these are splendid, Richard. There's real artistry in them. They're as good as anything by Margaret Bork White. You know, I've liked all the things you've shown me. This is the essence of photographic journalism.
Say, I didn't know they were that good. I just like to take pictures, that's all.
Richard, I've been meaning to talk to you about this. You're not just a kid fooling around with a camera anymore. These are good. This is what you ought to do. You ought to do some of the things you were telling me about. Just get on a boat and get off wherever it stops. Galveston, Mexico, Singapore, and just start taking pictures. Millions of them. Terrible pictures, wonderful pictures, everything.
Say, wouldn't I like to, though? Why, it's what I've been dreaming of for years. If I could do that, I'd be the happiest guy in the world.
Well, why can't you do it? If I were your age, I'd do it like a shot.
Well, you know why? Dad.
Richard, is this something that you want more than anything else in the entire world?
Oh, I certainly do.
Then do it.
Hello, Richie. Good afternoon, Mr. Whiteside.
June, my lovely. Well, Richard, I'm afraid it's up to you.
Well, I guess it is. Thank you, Mr. Whiteside. You've been swell, and I'll never forget it.
Righto, Richard.
June, are you coming upstairs?
In a few minutes, Richard.
Well, knock on my door, will you? I want to talk to you.
Yes, I will. Mr. Whiteside.
June, my lamb, you were too young to hear about the Elwell case, weren't you? Completely fascinating. I have 5 favorite murders in my time, and the Elwell case is one of them. Would you like to hear about it?
Mr. Whiteside, I wanted to talk to you. Would you mind for a few minutes? It's important.
Why, certainly, my dear. I take it this is about your young Romeo at the factory.
Yes. I just can't seem to make Father understand. It's like talking to a blank wall. He won't meet him. He won't even talk about it. What am I supposed to do, Mr. Whiteside? Sandy and I love each other. I don't know where to turn.
My dear, I'd like to meet this young man. I'd like to see him for myself.
Would you, Mr. Whiteside? Would you meet him? He's outside now. He's in the kitchen.
Good. Bring him in.
Mr. Whiteside, he's a very sensitive boy. You will be nice to him, won't you?
Confounded June. When will you learn that I am always kind and courteous? Bring this idiot in.
Sandy. Here he is, Mr. Whiteside. This is Sandy.
How do you do, sir?
How do you do? Young man, I have been hearing a great deal about you from June this past week. It seems, if I have been correctly informed, that you two babes in the woods have quietly gone out of your minds.
There's another name for it, Mr. Whiteside. It's called love.
Well, you've come to the right place. Dr. Sheridan Whiteside. Broken hearts mended, brakes relined, hamburgers. Go right ahead.
Well, if June has told you anything at all, Mr. Whiteside, you know the jam we're in. You see, I'm a labor organizer. I've been organizing the men in Mr. Stanley's factory, and he's pretty sore about it.
I'll bet.
Did June tell you that?
Yes, she did.
Well, that being the case, Mr. Whiteside, I don't think they have the right to try to influence June. If she marries me, it means a definite break for the family. I don't want to bring that about. But the trouble is, Mr. Stanley's so stubborn, so arbitrary. He acts as if this were all a big plot. John L. Lewis sent me here just to marry his daughter.
He's tried to fire Sandy twice out at the factory, but he couldn't on account of the Wagner Act. Thank goodness.
Yeah, he thinks I wrote that, too.
If he'd only let me talk to him, if he'd only let Sandy talk to him.
Well, we've gone over that already, June. Besides, I just got word I'm meeting tomorrow in Chicago. I may have to go on to Frisco from there. So you see the jam we're in.
Sandy's leaving tonight, Mr. Whiteside. He may be gone a whole year. So we've simply got to decide. Now.
My dear, this is absurdly simple. It's no problem at all. Now, to my jaundiced eye... Oh. Hello. Yes, this is Whiteside on the phone. Would you forgive me? It's a transatlantic call. Hello? Yes, I'm on. Who's calling? Oh, put them through. It's Mr. Disney, Mr. Walt Disney in Hollywood. Hello? Walt? How's my little dash of genius? Yes, I hoped you would. How did you know I was here? I see. What? Now? Yes, I'm listening. 10 seconds more. Mr. Disney calls me every Christmas. Hello? Yes, yes, Walt, I hear it. It sounds just like static. June. Well, thanks, old man, and a Merry Christmas to you. So what's the news in Hollywood? Who's going after Lana Turner these days? I see. Well, goodbye, old man, and don't worry about Fantasia. It wasn't your fault. Beethoven hasn't written a hit in years. Goodbye. Do you know what that was you just listened to? That was the voice of Donald Duck.
Not really.
Mr. Disney calls me every Christmas just so that I can hear it. 2 years ago, I was on the bottom of the ocean with William Beebe in a diving suit, but he got me. Now, where were we? Oh, yes, June. I like your young man. I have an unerring instinct about people. I've never been wrong. That's why I wanted to meet him for myself. As I see it, it's no problem at all. Stripped of all its externals, what does it come down to? Your father. The possibility in making him unhappy, is that correct?
Very unhappy.
Well, that isn't the point. Suppose your parents are unhappy. It's good for them. Develops their characters. Look at me. I left home at the age of 4 and haven't returned since. They hear me on the radio, and that's good enough for them.
Then your advice is to go ahead, Mr. Whiteside?
It is. Marry him tonight, June.
You really mean it, Mr. Whiteside?
No, I mean you should marry Hamilton Fish. If I didn't mean it, I wouldn't say it. What do you want me to do? Say it all over again? My own opinion is that you're not worthy of this young man.
Come along, Daisy. Stop dawdling.
There's Dad.
Forgive us for trespassing, Mr. Whiteside.
Not at all, old fellow, not at all. Besides, it's Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Oh, yes. Merry Christmas, Mr. Whiteside. June, we're going over to the Dexters to bring them some presents. Would you like to come along?
No, thank you, Mother. I have some letters to write.
Go ahead, Daisy.
Why, Mr. Stanley, what happened to your forehead? Did you have an accident?
No, Mr. Whiteside. I'm taking boxing lessons.
Dear Mr. Whiteside, I've been trying all day to see you, to give you this.
Why, Miss Stanley, a Christmas present for me.
It's only a trifle, but I wanted you to have it. It's a picture of me as I used to be. It was taken on another Christmas Eve many years ago. Don't open it to the stroke of midnight, will you? Merry Christmas, Mr. Whiteside.
This is the Whiteside residence, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I've come to see Mr. Whiteside, or I've come to see Mr. Whiteside. Will you please tell Miss Sheldon is here?
Lorraine? My blossom girl!
Sherry, my sweet. Oh, darling, look at that poor, sweet, tortured face. Let me kiss it. Mwah. Darling, oh, how Sherry, you know how drawn you are. Sherry, my sweet, I want to cry.
All right. You've made a very nice entrance, dear. Now relax.
But darling, I've been so worried ever since your phone call. And now seeing you in that chair.
This chair fits my fanny as nothing else ever has. I feel better than I felt in years, and my only concern is news of the outside world. So take off that skunk and tell me everything. How are you, my dear?
Darling, I'm so relieved. You look perfectly wonderful. I never saw you look better. My dear, do I look a wreck? I just dashed through New York, didn't do a thing about Christmas. Hattie Carnegie and had my hair done and got right on the train. And the Normandy coming back was simply hectic. Fun, you know, but simply exhausting. Jacques Whitney, Cary Grant, Dorothy DeFrasso. It was too exhausting. And London before that was magnificent, my dear. Well, I never got to bed at all. Darling, I have so much to tell you, I just don't know where to start.
Well, start with the dirt first, dear. That's what I want to hear.
Let me see. Sybil Cartwright was thrown right out of Kiro's. It was the night before I left. She was wearing one of those new cellophane dresses, and you could absolutely see Trafalgar Square. And Sir Harry Montrose, the painter, you know, is suing his mother for disorderly conduct. It just shocked everyone. And Anthony Eden told me he's going to be on your New Year's broadcast. And Beatrice Lilly gave me a message for you. She says to take off 25 pounds right away and send them to her by parcel post. She needs them.
I'll pack him in ice. Now come, dear. How about you? What about your love life? I don't believe for one moment you haven't been stringing at least one poor old fellow along.
Sherry, you're dreadful.
What about that splendid bit of English mutton, Lord Bottomley? Haven't you hooked him yet?
Sherry, really. Cedric is a very dear friend of mine.
Now come, dear. This is Sherry. Don't try to pull the bedclothes over my eyes. Don't tell me you wouldn't like to be Lady Bottomley with 100,000 pounds a year and 12 castles. By the way, has he had his teeth fixed yet? Every time I order Roquefort cheese, I think of those teeth.
Sherry, really? Cedric may not be brilliant, but he's a rather poor, sweet lamb. And he's very fond of me. And he does represent a kind of English way of living that I like. Surrey and London for the season, shooting box in Scotland, and that lovely castle in Wales. You were there, Sherry, you know what I mean.
Oh, I do indeed.
Well, really, Sherry, why not? If I can marry Cedric, I don't see why I shouldn't. Shall I tell you something, Sherry? I think, from something he said to me just before I sailed, that he's finally coming around to it. Don't be surprised if I am Lady Bottomley before very long.
Lady Bottomley? Well, won't Kansas City be surprised? However, I shall be a flower girl and get the groom an iron toothpick for a wedding present. Now come, dear. Let me hear some more of your skullduggery.
Well.
Mr. Whiteside?
No, not now. Come back later. I'm busy.
Sherry, who's that man?
Oh, he's fixing the plumbing. Now come ahead, dear. Let's hear some news.
Well, did you see this new bit of diamond loot I got from Cedric? Cedric gave it to me for on his mother's birthday. She was simply furious.
Well, this play that I brought you out here for, this young author, he'd given it to me with the understanding that I'd give it to Kit Cornell. It's a magnificent part, and I do feel disloyal to Kit.
Sherry.
Anyhow, there you are. Now I've done this much. The rest is up to you. Just how you'll go about persuading him, I'm sure you know more about than I do.
Sherry, really? You're dreadful. Look, I got a taxi waiting outside, and if I'm gonna get back here before everyone gets... Sherry, look, I've just been given the most beautiful... Oh, hello, Maggie. I knew you must be around here somewhere. How are you, my dear?
Santa's been at work, my pet. Dream Girl just dropped in out of the blue and surprised us.
Hello, Lorraine.
Bert! Come in, Bert. This is Mr. Bert Jefferson, young newspaper man. Miss Lorraine Sheldon.
How do you do, Miss Sheldon?
How do you do? I didn't quite catch the name. Jefferson?
That's right, Pat.
Why, Mr. Jefferson, you don't look like a newspaper man. You don't look like a newspaper man at all.
Really? I thought it was written all over me in neon lights.
Oh, no, not at all. I should have said you were an aviator, an explorer, or something. They all have that same kind of dash about them. I'm simply enchanted with your town, Mr. Jefferson. It gives one such a warm, gracious feeling. Tell me, have you lived here all your life?
Practically.
Now, if you wish to hear the story of his life, Lorraine, kindly do so on your own time. Maggie and I have work to do. Get out of here, Jefferson. On your way, Blossom. On your way.
He's the world's rudest man, isn't he? Can I drop you? I have a taxi waiting outside. I'm going down to the mansion house, I think it's called.
Thank you, but I've got my car. Suppose I drop you?
That would be lovely. We'll send the taxi on its way. See you in a little while, Sherry. Bye, Maggie.
Goodbye, Maggie. I'm invited back for dinner, am I not?
Yes. Yes, you are. At Christmas time, I always feed the needy. Now stop oozing out and get out.
Come on, Mr. Jefferson. I want to hear all about this charming little town of yours. And I want to know a good deal about you, too.
All right, Maggie, let's get down to work. Isn't there a broadcast around here somewhere? How much did you say they wanted out? 4 minutes?
That's right, 4 minutes. She's looking well, isn't she?
What? Who?
The Countess de Pushover. Quite a surprise, wasn't it, her dropping in like that?
What? Oh, yes. Yes, it was. Now get to work, Maggie. Come on, get to work.
Why, she must have gone through New York like a dose of salt. How long is she going to stay?
What? Oh, I don't know, a few days. At this joyous season of the year, when in the hearts of men, I can't cut that.
Quite a coincidence, There was Lorraine, snug as a bug in somebody's bed on the Normandy.
Ere the Yuletide season passed.
Now, Sherry, we will talk a bit.
Now look, Maggie, just because a friend of mine comes out here and surprises us for Christmas, doesn't mean... I have a hunch that's Beverly. Run and see if it is, Maggie. Come on. Run, run.
Magpie!
Beverly, darling!
A large moist kiss for my magpie.
Come in here, you Piccadilly pen pusher, and gaze upon a soul in agony.
Don't tell me how you are, Sherry dear. I want none of the tiresome details. I am only here for a short while, and the conversation will be entirely about me, and I shall love it. Shall I tell you how I glittered through the South Seas like a silver scimitar, or how I frolicked through Zambezia and finishing a 3-act play at the same time? Magpie, you are the moonflower of my middle age, and I love you very much. Say something tender to me.
Beverly, darling.
That's my girl. Now then, Sherry, without going into the mountainous ways of self-pity, how are you?
I'm fine, you presumptuous cockney. Now, how was the trip? Wonderful?
Fabulous. I did a fantastic amount of work. By the way, did I catch a glimpse of that little boudoir butterfly, La Sheldon, as I came up the driveway?
You did indeed. She's paying us a Christmas visit.
Dear girl, they do say she set fire to her mother, but I don't believe it. Now then, Sherry, my evil one, not only have I written the best comedy since Molière, but the finest review and an operetta that frightens me. It's so good. I shall play it for 8 weeks in London and 6 in New York. That's it. No matinees. Then I'm off to the Grecian Islands. Magpie, why don't you come with me? Why don't you desert this cannonball fluff?
Be careful, Beverly, darling. You're catching me at a good moment.
Beverly, how was your time in Hollywood? How long were you there?
3 unbelievable days. I saw everyone from Adrian to Zanuck. They came, poor dears, as to a shrine. I was then insufferably and ruthlessly firm and receiving $7 million for 2 men's work.
What about banjo? Did you see my wonderful banjo in Hollywood?
I did indeed. He gave a fabulous dinner for me. I came in white tie, white tail, only to be met by 2 big butlers, who quietly proceeded to take off my trousers. I was then ushered in my lemon-soaked drawers, into a room full of Aldous Huxley, Claudette Colbert, and many more. Dear incomparable banjo.
I'll never forget that summer at Antives, when Banjo put the microphone in Lorraine's mattress and played the record the next day at lunch.
I remember indeed. Lorraine left Antives by the next boat.
I wish Banjo were here now.
Is something wrong, Magpie? Is Lorraine being her own sweet, sick-making self again?
You wouldn't take her with you to the Grecian Islands, would you, Beverly? Just for me?
Now, now, Lorraine is a charming person who has gallantly given up her own Christmas to spend it with me.
I knew I had a bit of dirt for us all to nibble on.
Mr. Whiteside,
Go away!
Did you kidnap someone, Sherry?
Yes, that was Charlie Ross. Now, is this something juicy?
Juicy as a pomegranate. It is the latest report from London on the winter maneuvers of Miss Lorraine Sheldon against the left flank. In fact, all flanks of Lori Cedric Bottomley. Listen, Lorraine has just left us in a cloud of Chanel No. 5. Since September, in her relentless pursuit of his lordship, she has paused only to change girdles and check her oil. She has chased him, panting from castle to castle, till he finally took refuge for several weekends in the gentleman's lavatory at the House of Lords. Practically no one is betting on the Derby this year. We are all making book on Lorraine. She is sailing tomorrow on the Normandy, but would return on the Atlantic Clipper if Bottomley so much belches in her direction. Have you ever met Lord Bottomley, Magpie, dear?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Not very good shooting today. Lost it. Only 6 goals, 4 studs, and the Duke of Sutherland.
That's Bottomley to his very bottom.
Debate in the house today. Old Brazos spoke for 3 hours. Just dropped dead at the end of it. Ripping.
You're making it up, Beverly. No one sounds like that.
It's so good, it's uncanny. Beverly, why must you race out of here? I never get to see enough of you, you ungrateful moppet.
Sherry, my love for you is so great that I changed trains for you in Chicago to spend 10 minutes with you and wish you a Merry Christmas. And Merry Christmas to you, my magpie.
Beverly. Hello? Oh, hello, Bert. Oh, wait, just 1 minute. Beverly, would you have time to speak to a newspaper man for just 2 minutes before you go? I kind of promised him.
Won't have time, magpie.
Wait, just 1 more minute. Would you speak to him at the station before your train goes? Bert, go to the station and wait for him there. He'll be there in a few minutes. Bye.
Ah, come right in, Westcott.
Ah, the airways, huh? Well, I shan't have to listen to you, thank goodness. I'll be on a train.
Mr. Westcott, will you sit up in that room? Joanna, will you please show them where to plug in?
Right this way, gentlemen.
Say goodbye, Whiteside.
Stop this nonsense.
Au revoir, Sherry. Merry Christmas.
Beverly, my lamb. Maggie, what are you? I want to talk to Beverly.
You can talk to Beverly in Calcutta on July 12th.
I will not be rushed out of this room like a baby that has to have his diapers changed.
Come get a kiss, magpie.
Beverly, dear, I need 1 minute. I must have it. Don't worry about making your train. The station's just 1.5 minutes from here.
Well, what's the matter?
Go away!
I'm just waiting in the kitchen until Mr. Excuse me.
Who is that man?
Never mind. Beverly, I'm in great trouble.
What is it?
I'm in love.
No.
Yes. For the first time in my life, Beverly, I'm in love. But I can't tell you about it. There isn't time. But Sherry's trying to break it up. In his own fiendish way, he's doing everything he can to break it up.
Why, the old flounder? What's he doing?
Lorraine. He's brought Lorraine here to smash it up.
Oh, it's somebody here? In this town?
He's a newspaper man, the one you're going to meet at the station. And he's written a play, a very good play. I know Sherry must be using that as bait. You know Lorraine, she'll eat him up alive.
How can I help you?
I've got to get Lorraine out of here. The further away, the better. And you can do it for me.
But how? How can I? I'm leaving.
Have you covered the broadcast, Miss Cutler?
Yes, there's one on that table.
Thank you. One of the penguins ate the original.
Here's what I want you to do.
I'd love it. I'd absolutely love it. It's a wonderful joke on both Lorraine and Sherry at the same time. It's pure heaven, and I shall do it upright.
Darling, the first baby will be named Beverly. You're wonderful.
Of course I am. Come to Chiswick for your honeymoon, and I'll set you up. Magpie, I love you and adore you very much. Mercy, let me out of here.
Goodbye, Beverly. Oh, come right this way, kids. You can wait in the dining room.
Shall I straighten the room for the broadcast, Miss Cutler?
No, Joanna, it isn't television, thank goodness. They only hear the liquid voice.
He's really wonderful, isn't he, Mr. Whiteside? The things he finds time to do.
Yes, he certainly does stick his nose into everything, doesn't he?
Has the choir arrived yet, Miss Cutler?
Yes, they're waiting in the dining room, Mr. Westcott.
Thank you.
Why, Miss June, are you going away?
Why, no, Joanna. Mr. Whiteside isn't there, I suppose?
Yes, he's getting ready to go on the radio.
Oh, look, Joanna, would you... Never mind.
Where is he, in the library?
Yes, he's busy.
Oh, well, maybe we ought to... Oh, come on.
Thank you, Joanna. Hello, dear. Where's Sherry?
Inside, working. He's broadcasting soon.
Oh, that's right. Christmas Eve. What a wonderful man Sheridan Whiteside is. You know, my dear, it must be an utter joy to be a secretary for someone like Sherry.
Yes, you meet such interesting people. That's quite a gown, Lorraine. Going anywhere?
This? Oh, I just threw on anything at all. Aren't you dressing for dinner?
No, just what meets the eye.
Maggie, dear, who does your hair?
A little French woman named Maggie Cutler comes in every morning.
You know, every time I see you, I keep on thinking your hair could be so lovely. I always wanted to get my hands on it.
I always wanted to get mine on yours, Lorraine.
What, dear? By the way, what time does Beverly get here? I'm not over anxious to meet him.
He's been and gone, Lorraine.
Really? Well, I'm very glad that... Oh, that's right. You and Beverly are great friends, aren't you?
Yes, we are. I think he's a wonderful person.
I suppose he is, but really, when I finished acting with him, I was a complete wreck. All during the tender love scene that the critics thought was so magnificent. He kept on dropping peanut shells down my dress. I wouldn't act to get with him again if I were starving.
Tell me, Lorraine, have you found a new play yet?
No, I haven't. There was a pile of manuscripts waiting for me in New York, but I rushed right over here to Sherry.
Yes, it was wonderful of you, Lorraine. The way you dropped everything and rushed to Sherry's wheelchair.
Well, after all, Maggie dear, what else has one in this world but friends?
That's what I always say. Everything okay? Here, let me get that for you.
Yes, thank you.
How long will Sherry be in there?
Not long. Did you know Mr. Jefferson has written quite a good play? The man who brought you to the hotel.
No, I didn't. Isn't that interesting?
Isn't it?
They put a pause polish on my nails that I simply loathe. I don't suppose Elizabeth Arden has a branch in this town.
Not if she has any sense.
Oh well, I'll bear it. But it does depress me. Have you read this, Maggie? Everybody was reading it on the boat. I hear you simply can't put it down.
I put it down. Right there. Hello? Yes? Miss Lorraine Sheldon? Yes, she's here. There's a transatlantic call coming through for you, Lorraine.
For me? Here? Why, what in the world?
It's London.
London? Hello? Hello? Cedric, Cedric, is this you? Why, Cedric, you darling! Why, what a surprise. How did you know I was here? What? Darling, don't talk so fast and you won't stutter so. Yes, that's better. Yes, I can hear you very clearly. It was as though you were just around the corner. What? Cedric! Cedric, dearest, would you wait just one moment? Maggie, would you mind? It's a very personal call. Would you mind?
Oh, no, not at all.
Yes, my dearest, now tell me. Cedric, don't stutter so much. Oh, my darling. Oh, my sweet. You don't know how I prayed for this every night on the boat. Oh, darling, yes. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Oh, I'll take a plane out of here right away. What? Cedric, don't talk so fast and you won't stutter so. Yes, and I love you, my darling, oh so much. Oh, my dear sweet, my darlingest darling, yes. Yes, I will, darling. I'll be thinking of you every moment. You made me the happiest girl in the world. Goodbye, goodbye, my darling, goodbye. Sherry, 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 do you know what just happened? Lord Bonham-Lee has called from London. He's asked me to marry him.
What?
Sherry, think of it. At last, I've got to get a plane out of here right away and catch the next boat.
May I come in?
Maggie, dear, do you know when the next plane leaves? I've simply got to get on the next boat to England.
The Queen Mary sails Friday. What's happened?
Maggie, Lord Bonham-Lee has called from London. He's asked me to marry him. Oh, Maggie.
Well, what do you know?
Maggie, can you help me get out of here right away?
Of course I will, Lorraine.
Thank you, thank you. Will you look things up right away?
Yes, I have a train schedule right here. And don't worry, if you can't catch a train from here, I'll drive you to Cleveland and you can catch the plane from there.
Thank you, dear. Oh, you're wonderful. Sherry, what's the matter with you? You haven't said a word. You haven't even congratulated me.
Let me understand this, Lorraine. Am I to gather from your girlish squeals that you are about to toss your career into the ash can?
Sherry, it's not like that. Of course, I may not be able to play this season, but there'll be other seasons, Sherry.
I see. And everything else goes into the ash can with it, is that right?
But Sherry, you couldn't expect me to...
Don't explain, Lorraine. I understand only too well. I also understand why Cornell remains the first actress of our theater.
Oh, this is wonderful, Lorraine. Look here. There's a plane leaving Cleveland at 10:03. It takes about an hour to get there. Why, it all works out wonderfully, doesn't it, Sherry?
Peachy.
Maggie, dear, what's the number for the hotel I'm at? I've got to get my maid to start packing.
Mazzelia 32.
Mazzelia 32, please. Let's see, I sail on Friday, a 5-day boat. That means I'd be in London Wednesday night. Mansion House? Yes, this is Lorraine Sheldon. Will you please connect me with my maid?
Look, Sherry, it's starting to snow. Oh, Oh, this is wonderful. Sherry, I've never felt more like Christmas in all my life.
Shut your nasty little face.
Cosette? Cosette? Now listen very carefully, Cosette. We're leaving here tonight by plane and sailing Friday on the Queen Mary. Yes, now I want you to start packing immediately and I'll call for you in about an hour. Yes, that's right. Now I want you to send these cables for me. Have you got a pencil? Right. The first one goes to Lord and Lady Cunard. You'll find these addresses in my little book. It's on my dressing case. Lord and Lady Cunard, my darlings, Cedric and I are to be married immediately when we return. Wanted you to be the first to know. Love, Lorraine. Now send that... What? Oh, thank you, Cosette. Thank you very much. Now send the same message to Lady Astor, Lord Beaverbrook, and my mother in Kansas City. Got that? And send a telegram to Hattie Carnegie, New York. Please meet me noon tomorrow with dresses of bridal gown and trousseau, Lorraine Sheldon. And send one to Monsieur Pierre Cartier, Cartier's London. Will you please hold in reserve for me the triple string of pearls I picked out in October? Cable me Queen Mary, Lorraine Sheldon. Have you got that all straight, Cosette? Yes, that'll do. Now you have to rush, my dear. I'll call for you in about an hour. Yes, goodbye. Thank goodness for Cosette. She's the most wonderful maid in the world. Well, life is really full of surprises, isn't it? Who would have thought an hour ago I'd be on my way to London?
An hour ago? Oh, no, I never would have thought it an hour ago.
Will you two stop this female drooling? I have a violent headache.
Oh, Sherry, dear, can I get you something?
Now look here, Sherry. I'm sorry if I offended you, but after all, my life is my own.
Hello, everybody. Say, do you know it's snowing outside? We're gonna have a real old-fashioned Christmas.
Why don't you telephone your scoop to the New York Times?
Bert, Miss Sheldon has to catch a plane out of Cleveland tonight. Can we drive her there, you and I?
Why, certainly. Sorry you have to go, Miss Sheldon. No bad news, I hope.
Oh, on the contrary. Very good news. Wonderful news.
Calls for a celebration, I think. Sherry, you're not being a very good host. How about some chocolate souffle? I saw Sarah taking some out of the oven earlier.
Maggie, that happens to be one of my favorites.
Yes. Just stop driveling.
Has anybody admired my Christmas present yet, Maggie?
Dear, I almost forgot. Look, everyone, from Mr. Jefferson to me.
Let me see it. Why, it's inscribed to Maggie, long may she wait, Bert. Oh, Maggie, that's a wonderful Christmas present. Isn't that sweet, Sherry?
Ducky.
I told you it was beautiful, Bert. See?
Well, that just goes to show what you get when you save your coupons.
What's going on between you two, anyhow? Maggie, are you hiding something from us?
Will this dribble never stop? My head is bursting.
A chocolate souffle will cure anything. By the way, I got a 2-minute interview with Beverly Carlton down at the station. You were right, Mr. Whiteside. He's quite something.
Bert, why don't you see if you can help Sarah with that souffle?
On the fire. I was lucky to even get 2 minutes. He was in a phone booth most of the time.
Bert, help Sarah, will you?
Okay. Couldn't quite understand what he was saying, but from the looks of it, it looked like a scene from one of his plays.
Bert, help Sarah, will you?
Just a minute. If you please, Mr. Jefferson. Beverly Carlton was in a telephone booth at the station.
He certainly was. I thought he would never come out. He kept talking and making the darndest faces for about 5 minutes.
Bert, my boy, I have a feeling I will love the chocolate souffle. Go tell Sarah to bring it in. My headache has gone with the wind.
Okay.
Dick Tracy is now at work. Hello, operator dear. Has there been a call from England over this telephone within the past half hour? Yes, I'll wait.
Sherry, what is this?
What's that? There have been no calls from England over this telephone within the past 3 days? Thank you. Dream girl, will you repeat that, please? Hear it, dear? Thank you, operator, and a Merry Christmas to you. Goodbye.
Sherry, what does this mean?
My dear, you have just played the greatest love scene of your career with your old friend, Beverly Carlton.
Why, that's not true. I was talking to Cedric. What do you mean?
I mean, my blossom, that was Beverly you poured your girlish heart to, not Lord Bottomley. Ah, me. Who would have thought 5 minutes ago you would not be going to London?
Sherry, I want this explained.
Explained? You heard the operator, didn't you, dear? All I can tell you is that Beverly was indulging in one of his famous bits of mimicry, that's all. You've heard him do Lord Bottomley before, haven't you?
Yes. Yes, of course. But why on earth would he do such a thing? This is one of the most dreadful things that... Oh, no! The cables! Oh. Connect me to the mansion house. Oh, no. Oh, no. Why, that... Oh, that little skunk! The louse! The dirty little rotten mansion house! Connect me with my maid! What? Who do you think this is? Miss Sheldon, of course. Oh, no. If only Cosette hasn't sent the cables. Cosette, did you send those cables? Oh, no. Now listen very carefully, Cosette. I want you to send another cable to every one of those people and tell them that somebody has been using my name and to disregard anything and everything they hear from me. Except this, of course. What? Don't ask questions. Do as you're told. Don't argue with me, you French moron. Do as you're told. And unpack. We're not going.
Now, steady, Blossom. Take it easy.
What do you mean, take it easy? Do you realize I'll be the laughing stock of England? I always knew Beverly Carlton was low, but not this low. Why? Why? It isn't even funny. Why would he do it? That's what I would like to know. Why would he do it? There must have been some reason. It doesn't make sense otherwise. Oh, I don't understand it. Do you, Sherry? Do you, Maggie? You both saw him this afternoon. Why would he walk out of here, go to the nearest phone booth, and try to ship me over to England on some fool's errand? There must have been some reason. There must have. It doesn't make sense otherwise. Why would Beverly Carlton, or anyone else for that matter, want to do this? Wait a second. I think I'm beginning to. Of course. Of course, that's it. And that's a very charming bracelet Mr. Jefferson gave you, isn't it, Maggie? And to nearly think that well, wild horses couldn't get me out of here now. And if I were you, Maggie, I'd hang on to that bracelet. It'll be something to remember him by.
All right, Mr. Whiteside, almost time. Hook her up, boys. Start testing. Here's your new copy, Mr. Whiteside. How much time?
A couple minutes.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
Are we
coming in, New York? ABCD.
ABCD.
Mary had a little lamb.
Mary had a little lamb.
Testing.
Please, Daisy.
Okay, New York. Mary had a little lamb. Waiting.
Sarah will be right out with a souffle. Oh, have we time?
Oh, I'm sure we'll have time, Mr. Jefferson. My plans are changed. I'm not leaving after all.
Really? Well, that's good.
And I hear you've written a simply marvelous play, Mr. Jefferson. I want you to read it to me tonight. Will you? After dinner, we'll go back to the mansion house, and you'll read me your play.
What? I should say so. I'd be delighted. Maggie, did you hear that? Say, I'll bet you did this. You arranged the whole thing. Well, it's the best Christmas present you could have ever given me. Maggie? Maggie!
30 seconds, waiting.
Mr. Whiteside!
Quiet, please.
My son has run off on a freighter, and my daughter is marrying an anarchist.
Quiet.
They say you told them to do it.
My poor Jude. My poor Richard.
Quiet, please. We're going on the air.
Oh, I see you're busy.
Don't you tell me to be quiet.
Quiet, for heaven's sake. Step out of the way, please. All right, go on that way to that mic.
Okay, New York.
Cream of mushroom and cherry Whiteside. This is Whiteside speaking. On this eve of ease, when my own heart is overflowing with peace and calm, I think it most fitting to tell once again the story of that still and lustrous night, nigh unto 2,000 years. Disappear to all the time, my lady Nausea.
But I can only be in one place at one time.
That's very fortunate for this community.
Good morning, Mr. Whiteside. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Joanna.
Are you ready for your breakfast, Mr. Whiteside?
No, I don't think I want any breakfast, Joanna. Has Miss Cutler come down yet?
No, sir, not yet.
Is she still in her room, do you know?
Yes, sir, she is. Shall I call her?
No, that's all, Joanna.
Yes, sir.
I'm taking the 1 o'clock train out, Sherry. I'm leaving.
You're doing nothing of the kind.
Here are your keys, your driver's license. The key to the safe deposit box is in the apartment in New York. I'll go in here now and clean things up.
Just a moment, Miss Self-Pity. Where were you until 3 o'clock this morning? I sat up half the night in this station wagon waiting for you. You heard me call for you when you came in. Why didn't you answer me?
It's over and you've won, Sherry. I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, come. What are you trying to do? Make me feel like a naughty, naughty boy? Honestly, Maggie, sometimes you can be very annoying.
You're quite wonderful, Sherry, in a way. You're annoyed? I wish there was a laugh left in me. Shall I tell you something, Sherry? I think you are a selfish, petty egomaniac who would see his mother burned at the stake if it was the only way he could light his cigarette. I think you'd sacrifice your best friend without a moment's hesitation if he disturbed the sacred routine of your self-centered, paltry little life. I think you are incapable of any human emotion that goes higher up than your stomach, and I was the fool of the world for ever thinking I could trust you.
Well, as long as I live, I shall never do anyone a good turn again. I won't ask you to apologize, Maggie, because in 6 months from now, you'll be thanking me instead of berating me.
6 months from now, Sherry, I expect to be so far away from you.
Hello. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. Shake hands with a successful playwright. Maggie, why'd you run away last night? Where were you? Miss Sheldon thinks the play is wonderful. I read her the play and she thinks it's wonderful. Isn't that wonderful?
That's fine, Bert.
Isn't that wonderful, Mr. Whiteside?
Jefferson, I think you ought to go home, don't you?
What? No. Biggest day of my life. I know I'm a little hyper right now, but this is a big day. We were sitting over in Monk's Cafe all night. We never realized it was daylight until it was daylight. Listen, man. Miss Sheldon says the play needs just a little bit of work. Do it in 3 weeks. She's going to take me out to a place she's got over in Lake Placid, just for 3 weeks. We're going to work on the play together. Isn't that wonderful? Why don't you say something, Maggie?
Look, Bert, I suggest that you tell us about this later. Now, why don't you go home?
Excuse me. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas.
God bless us all. And Tiny Tim.
Yes. Mr. Whiteside, I thought perhaps if I came very
You know
early-
what, Doc? I'm going to Lake Placid for 3 weeks. You know the famous actress, Lorraine Sheldon? Well, we're going to Lake Placid for 3 weeks. Isn't that wonderful?
Dr. Bradley, will you do me a favor? I think Mr. Jefferson would like a big breakfast. Can you take care of him, please?
Yes, of course.
Dr. Bradley, I'm going to buy a breakfast for you. The biggest breakfast you've ever had.
Yes, Jefferson.
And you know what, Doc? I've got so much energy. Let's climb down a couple of chimneys. I got this friend who doesn't believe in Santa Claus. Let's climb down his chimney and frighten the daylights out of him.
Now listen to me, Maggie. I'm willing to forgive your tawdry outburst and talk about this calmly.
I love him so terribly, Sherry. Why did you do it? Why did you do it?
Merry Christmas, Mr. Whiteside.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Miss Stanley.
I'm afraid I shouldn't be seen talking to you, Mr. Whiteside. My brother, he's terribly angry. But I couldn't resist asking, did you like my Christmas present?
Oh, I'm very sorry, Miss Stanley. I haven't opened it yet. I haven't opened any of my presents.
I was so anxious. It's right here under the tree, though. Won't you open it now?
I appreciate your thinking of me, Miss Stanley. It's very thoughtful of you. Why, it's lovely. I'm very fond of these old photographs. Thank you very much.
I was 22 when that was taken. That was my favorite dress. Do you really like it?
I do indeed. When I get back into town, I shall send you a little gift.
Will you? Thank you, Mr. Whiteside. I shall treasure it. Well, I shall be late for church. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Miss Stanley. What is there about that woman?
Sarah's got a little surprise for you, Mr. Whiteside. She's just taking it out of the oven.
Thank you, Joanna. Miss Preen! Miss Preen!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Open the door, will you? Joanna's upstairs.
Who is it?
Holly Adler's? Bobby Medley! Medley, did you hear what I said, Medley? Kiss me. Again! Don't be afraid of my passion. Kiss me. I can feel the hot blood pounding through your varicose veins.
Put me down! Put me down! Do you hear? Don't you dare! Kiss me! Put me down! I'll scream! Mr. Whiteside! Mr. Whiteside!
Banjo!
Hello, Whiteside. Will you sign for this package, please?
Put that woman down. She is my nurse, you mental delinquent.
Come to my room in a half an hour and bring some rye bread.
Really, Mr. Whiteside!
Whiteside, I'm here to spend Christmas with you. Give me a kiss.
Get away from me, you reform school fugitive. How did you get here anyway?
Santa Claus loaned me his reindeer. Whiteside, we finished shooting a picture yesterday, and I'm on my way to Nova Scotia. Flew here in 12 hours, borrowed an airplane from Howard Hughes. Whiteside, I brought you a wonderful Christmas present. This sweater was once worn by Lotta Turner.
Listen, you idiot. How long can you stay?
Just long enough to take a bath. I'm on my way to Nova Scotia. Where's Maggie?
Nova Scotia? What are you going to Nova Scotia for?
I'm sick of Hollywood, and there's this dame in New York I don't want to see. So I figured I'd go to Nova Scotia and get some smoked salmon. Where in the world's Maggie? I want to see her. What's the matter with you? Where is she?
Banjo, I'm glad you're here. I'm very angry at Maggie. Very.
What's the matter? Say, what's this? I thought you couldn't walk.
Oh, I've been all right for weeks. That isn't the point. I'm furious at Maggie. She's turned on me like a viper. You know how fond I am of her? Well, after all these years, she's repaying my affection by behaving like a fishwife.
What are you talking about?
I never actually thought she was in love with him.
In love with who? I just got here, remember?
I'm telling you, you Hollywood nitwit. A young newspaperman here in town.
Maggie finally fell. Well, what do you know? What kind of a guy is he?
Oh, shut up and listen, will you?
Well, go on. What happened?
Well, Lorraine Sheldon happened to come out here and visit me.
Old Hot Pants? Here?
And this young author, he'd written a play. You can guess the rest. Lorraine's taking him away with her this afternoon to rewrite. So there you are. Maggie's in there now, crying her eyes out.
Gee. Say, wait a minute. What do you mean Lorraine Sheldon happened to come out here? I smell a rat, Sherry. A rat with a beard.
Well, all right, but I did it for Maggie. Because I thought it was the right thing for her.
Oh, sure. You haven't thought of yourself in years. Gee, poor kid. Can I go in and talk to her?
No, leave her alone.
Anything I could do, Sherry? Where's this guy live? This guy she likes. Can we get a hold of him?
Now listen, Banjo, we don't want any phony warrants or you pretending to be J. Edgar Hoover. I've been through all that with you before. Now I've got Lorraine out here, and I've got to get her away.
It's got to be good, Sherry. Lorraine's no dope. Now, there must be something that would get her out of here. Say, I think I've got it. There's that fellow she's so crazy about over in England. What's his name? Lord Benny or... Bottomley, that's it, Bottomley!
No, Banjo, no.
No, wait a minute. You don't catch on. We sent Lorraine a cablegram from Lord Bottomley.
No, I catch on, Banjo. Lorraine caught on, too. It's been tried.
Oh, I told you she was no dope.
The trouble is, there's so little time. Get out of my chair. Well, Lorraine's taking him away with her this afternoon. Must be some way out. Trouble is, I've done this job too well.
Stuck, huh?
In the words of one of our greatest lyric poets, you said it.
Yeah. Gee, I'm hungry. We'll think of something, Sherry. I'll get Lorraine out of here if I have to do it one piece at a time.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Whiteside. Oh, excuse me. Got something for you. Mr. Whiteside, that was for you!
Never mind, Sarah. He's quite mad.
Come, Petrushka. We shall dance. We shall dance.
Mr. Whiteside! Mr. Whiteside!
Just give him some breakfast, Sarah. He's harmless. And just what does this mean?
This means, Mr. Whiteside, that I'm leaving. My address is on the desk. You can send me my check.
You realize, Miss Preen, that this is completely unprofessional.
I do indeed. Not only am I walking out on this case, Mr. Whiteside, I am walking out on the nursing profession. I became a nurse because all my life, ever since I was a little girl, I was filled with the idea of serving a suffering humanity. After 1 month with you, Mr. Whiteside, I am going to go work in a munitions factory. From now on, anything I can do to help exterminate the human race will fill me with the greatest of pleasure. If Florence Nightingale ever nursed you, Mr. Whiteside, she would have married Jack the Ripper instead of founding the Red Cross. Good day.
Mr. Whiteside, Mr. Stanley has brought June back. June's back. Oh, thank goodness June is back. Oh, June, thank goodness you are back. You're not married, are you?
No, Mother, I'm not, and please don't be hysterical.
Well, if it had been anyone but that awful boy. Thank goodness you brought her home. How did you do it?
Never mind that, Daisy. Just take June upstairs. I have something to say to Mr. Whiteside.
Well, what about Richard? Is there any news?
It's all right. It's all under control. Now just take June upstairs.
Father, haven't we had enough melodrama? I don't have to be taken upstairs. I'll go upstairs. Merry Christmas, Mr. Whiteside. It looks bad for John L. Lewis. Come on, Mother. Lock me in my room.
Oh, you'll feel much better after a hot bath. Have you had anything to eat?
I am pleased to inform you, sir, that your plans for my daughter have seemed to gone a trifle awry. She is not, nor will she ever be, married to that labor agitator you so kindly picked out for her. And as for my son, he has been apprehended in Toledo and will be brought home within the hour. Not having your gifts for incentive, sir, I cannot tell you what I think of your obnoxious interference in my affairs, but I have now arranged you will interfere no longer. Will you come in, please, gentlemen? Mr. Whiteside, these gentlemen are deputy sheriffs. They have a warrant by which I am enabled to put you out of this house, and I need hardly add it will be the greatest moment in my life. Mr. Whiteside, I am giving you 15 minutes in which to pack up and get out. If you are not gone within 15 minutes, these gentlemen will forcefully eject you. Thank you, gentlemen. Will you wait by the door, please? 15 minutes, Mr. Whiteside. That means bag, baggage, wheelchair, penguins, octopus, and cockroaches. I am now going upstairs to smash my radio, so that not even by accident will I ever hear your voice again.
Sure you don't want my autograph, old fellow?
15 minutes, Mr. Whiteside.
Say, can she cook? Well, Whiteside, I did get an idea. Any news from the front?
Yes, the enemy is at my rear and nibbling.
Where'd you say Maggie was? In there?
It's no use, Banjo. She's taking the 1 o'clock train out.
No kidding. You didn't tell me that. You mean she's quitting you after all these years? She's really leaving.
She is.
That means that you only got until 1 o'clock to do something.
No, dear. I have exactly 15 minutes. 14 minutes. In which to pull out of my hat the biggest rabbit you've ever seen.
What do you mean 15 minutes?
In exactly 15 minutes, baby's rosy little butt is being tossed out into the snow. Mine host has sworn out a warrant. I am being kicked out.
What? I never heard of such a thing. What would you do a thing like that for?
Never mind, never mind. The point is, I have only 15 minutes. Banjo, dear, the master is growing a little desperate.
What about laying your cards out on the table with Lorraine?
Now, Banjo, you know Dream Girl as well as I do. What do you think?
You're right.
Banjo, go in and talk to Maggie, right in there. I've got to think.
Say, if I knew where Lorraine was, I could get a car and run over her. Wouldn't hurt her much.
Please, Banjo, I've got to think.
Pardon me, miss. Is this the YMCA?
Is this your father? No, you idiot. Hello, Mr. Whiteside. I didn't get very far. Any suggestions?
I'm very sorry, Richard. Very sorry indeed. I wish I was in a position to
Well,
allow
you're not in a position. Thank you very much, officer. Here's a little something for your trouble.
Thank you, sir. Good day.
Will you go upstairs, please, Richard? "10 minutes, Mr. Whiteside."
I brought you some orange juice, Mr. Whiteside. Are you feeling any better?
Superb, Joanna. Any cyanide in this orange juice? Open the door, Joanna. It's probably some mustard gas from an old friend.
See, that crazy fellow made a great hit with Sarah. He wants to give her a screen test.
Merry Christmas, Joanna. Is Mr. Whiteside up yet?
Yes, he is, Miss Sheldon. He's right here.
Merry Christmas, darling. Merry Christmas. Mwah. I've come to have Christmas breakfast with you, my dear. May I?
Of course, my sprite. Joanna, bring down another tray for Miss Sheldon. Better make it 1-minute eggs.
Darling, it's the most absolutely beautiful Christmas morning. The snow is absolutely glistening. It's too bad you can't get out.
Oh, I'll probably see a bit of it. So, Lorraine, I hear you're off for Lake Placid. What time are you leaving?
How did you know? Is Bert here?
No, he rolled in a while ago. Worked rather fast, didn't you, dear?
Darling, I was swept off my feet by the play. It's fantastically good, Sherry. It's the kind of part that comes along once in 10 years. I'm so grateful to you, darling. Sometimes I think you're the only friend I have in the world.
Thank you. What time did you say you were leaving? You and Jefferson?
Oh, I think it's 4 o'clock. You know, quite apart from anything else, Bert is a very attractive man. It makes it a rather pleasure squaring accounts with little Miss Perfect. Darling, I want to give you the most beautiful Christmas present you ever had in your life. Now, what do you want? Anything. I'm so deliriously happy that... That sounds like Banjo. Is he here?
He is, my dear. Just the family circle gathering around at Christmas. My, how time flies when you're having fun.
Well, hello, sweetie pats. How are you?
Very funny. And you, Banjo?
I'm fine, fine. How's the mattress business, Lorraine?
Very funny, Banjo. It's too bad that your pictures aren't as funny as you seem to think you are.
You've got me there, Mama. Say, you look in the pink, Lorraine. Anything in the wind, Whiteside?
Not a glimmer.
What time does the boat sail?
10 minutes.
What boat is this?
The good ship up the creek.
This is everything, Sherry. I'm leaving 3 carbons. Is there anything out there? What's in this basket?
Oh, nothing. Nothing at all.
Do you want me to file these letters? Do you want this picture?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
The only thing I haven't done is to put all your broadcasts in order. Did you want me to do that?
No thank you, Maggie. That's all.
I'll see you before I go, Banjo. You know, I'm looking forward to Lake Placid. Bert's the kind of man that will do all the winter sports beautifully.
Will he have time?
Yes, sir.
American Express.
All right, come ahead. Careful now. Careful. Right in here.
Sherry, what is that?
Where do you want this?
Right there. It's for you, Mr. Whiteside.
If there was one thing I needed right now, it was an Egyptian mummy.
Merry Christmas! From the Khedive of Egypt? What did you send him? Grant's tomb?
5 minutes, Mr. Whiteside, including that.
Sherry, who's that man?
He announces the time every few minutes. I pay him a small sum.
But what on earth for, Sherry?
I lost my watch!
Oh, pardon me, Mr. Whiteside. I didn't mean to intrude.
What next?
Pardon me, ma'am. I'll wait in here. Oh, I've written a new chapter on the left kidney.
Is that the plumber again, Sherry? You know, I must go to Egypt someday. I really must. I know I'd love it. The first time I went to Pompeii, I cried all night. All those people, all those lives. Where are they now? Do you ever think of that, Sherry? I do. Here was a woman like myself. A woman who once lived and loved, full of the same passions, fears, jealousies, and hates. And what remains of any of it now? Just this, and nothing more. A span of 4,000 years, a mere atom of eternity of time. And here am I, another woman, living out her life. I want to cry. Oh, I mustn't talk this way today. It's Christmas. It's Christmas.
Lorraine, dear, have you ever played St. Joan?
Why, no, I haven't, Sherry. What makes you ask that?
There was something about your expression as you stood in that case. There was absolute halo about you.
Why, Sherry.
It transcended any mortal expression I've ever seen. Step into it again, dear.
Sherry, you're joshing me, aren't you?
My dear, I don't make light of these things. I was deeply moved. There was a strange beauty about you, Lorraine. Pure Da Vinci. Please do it again.
I don't know what it was that I did, but, oh, I feel too silly, Sherry. I really do.
In that one single moment, Lorraine, you approached the epitome of your art, and you shouldn't be ashamed of it. A while ago, you asked me what I wanted for a Christmas present. What I want, Lorraine, is the memory of you standing in that mummy case.
Why, Sherry, I'm all choked up. Dust thou art, and dust to dust.
Eureka! Will she be all right in there?
Sure, she can breathe easy. I'll let her out as soon as we get on the plane. Say, what are we going to do next? How do we get this thing out of here?
One thing at a time. That's the next step.
Think fast, Captain, think fast.
Everything is done, Sherry.
Good.
Are you sure you don't want me to clean this out for you?
Oh, yes. Take it all. Throw it all away. Oh, give me that picture. I want to see the picture.
I'll finish up everything in a few minutes, Sherry. Did you want me to take these letters in and put them with your other ones?
Oh, yes. Do it right away, Maggie. It's very important. Right away.
I'll talk to you later, Banjo.
I've got it. What? I knew I'd seen this face before somewhere. Now I know how to get this out of here.
What face? How?
Time is up, Mr. Whiteside. 15 minutes.
Ah, yes. 15 minutes, Mr. Stanley. But just one small favor before I go. I'd like you to summon those 2 officers to help this man down to the airport with his mummy case. Would you be kind enough to do that, old fellow?
I will do nothing of the kind.
Oh, I think you will, Mr. Stanley. Or I shall report to my radio audience on my next broadcast that your sister, Harriet Stanley, is none other than the famous Harriet Sedley, who murdered her parents with an axe 25 years ago in Gloucester, Massachusetts. Oh, come, Mr. Stanley. It's a very small favor. Or would you rather hear the good folk of Massalia repeating at your very doorstep that one popular jingle? Harriet Sedley took an axe, and she gave her mother 40 whacks. And when the job was nicely done, she gave her father 41. Remember, Mr. Stanley, I too am losing something. It would make an excellent broadcast. Well,
Mr. Whiteside, you are the most evil man I have ever met.
well, you're a little late in finding that out. Gentlemen, will you come in here, please? Mr. Stanley would like you to help this man down to the airport with this mummy case. He's sending it to a friend in Nova Scotia.
Collect.
Right, Mr. Stanley?
Yes. Yes.
Whiteside, you're a great man.
Handle it carefully, gentlemen. Banjo, you're wonderful. May I write a book about you?
Don't bother. I can't read. Goodbye, Maggie. Love conquers all. Careful with that case, boys. It contains a jewel, slightly tarnished.
Sherry, is that?
It is indeed. Oh. A little Christmas present for you.
Sherry, you old reprobate.
Just send me a necktie sometime. My coat and hat, Maggie. I'm leaving for New York.
You're leaving, Sherry?
Don't argue, rat girl. Do as you're told.
Yes, Mr. Whiteside.
Mr. Whiteside, you're walking.
Yes, I am, Bert. There's been a change of schedule. Lorraine Sheldon is off on a world cruise. I will be sending your play to Catherine Cornell. Miss Cutler will explain everything.
Maggie?
Thank you, my darling.
Mr. Whiteside, are you very busy?
Oh, yes, Doctor, yes, very busy. But if you ever get a chance to come to New York, try and find me. Goodbye, my lamb. I love you very much.
You're wonderful, Sherry.
Nonsense. Goodbye, Jefferson. You'll never know the trouble you've caused.
Goodbye, Mr. Whiteside.
Goodbye, Mr. Stanley. I hope to hear in the near future that your daughter has married her young man and that your son has been permitted to follow his own bent. Or else. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Maggie, what is all this? Where's he going? I didn't know he could walk even.
It's all right, Bert. Just don't ask questions. You're too young to know.
Ernest, Richard's being very difficult. You'll have to talk to him.
Ow!
Oh, Bert, doctor!
Something's happened.
What's the matter? Something happened?
What's wrong? What is it?
right, Mr. Whiteside, just relax.
What's the matter, Mother?
No. No.